Peace Radio. It's Tuesday evening and it's just after 6 p.m. In fact, it's 6:08 p.m. UK time. And this is a spiritual discussion program. I'm Saad in southeast London, in Bromley, and the weather here is sunny and I will call it hot. And it's been a windy too. That's good for school. And with us, as usual, is Gregory. And Gregory, how are you? And how is the weather where you are?
One is fine. Water is very hot and with little wind, but we will adjust.
Okay, good. All right. Gregory, please, as usual, if you can put yourself on mute while I'm speaking so that I don't get any echo. Thank you for that. Good evening, listeners. As I said, this is a spiritual discussion program. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Abdushin. And we have a new topic every week for discussion. The topic tonight is humanity in creation. Humanity in creation. You're welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. I'm going to begin with what is the Grail message? The Grail message in the light of truth by Abdushin is a spiritual knowledge of life. It offers an explanation of the world, a picture of creation on the basis of natural laws. Its lectures contain valuable basic elements as a help in life. For through the knowledge mediated, the reader is again brought closer to life and led back to God. The Grail message deals with important fundamental questions of life by explaining in a clear and logical way the automatic working of the laws of nature, the whole weaving of creation, allowing every process to be recognized and thereby the purpose of our whole life. It is directed at the individual and speaks to the innate experiences of the human being, their strengths and weaknesses. Thus, every reader has the opportunity to discover through the intuitive perception if what is stated is the truth. Combining with matter-of-fact reasoning, a complete world picture arises, where there is no separation between the visible world and the great world beyond the five senses, nor any separation between scientific and religious striving for knowledge. I'd like to give you a couple of quotes from the author of the Grail message, Abdushin. The hearer and reader of my lectures should always work within himself, keenly probing and building bridges from one lecture to the other, as well as out into the great and small world happenings. Only then will he be able to understand the Grail message and find that it gradually shapes itself into one complete whole, without leaving any gaps. Again and again, in all the happenings, the reader will come back to the basic features. He can explain everything without having to change even one single sentence. The word of the Grail message lives, so that it permits only those people who really carry the honest desire in their souls to find abundantly All else is automatically rejected by it. For the arrogant and those who seek superficially, the message will remain the book with 7 seals. And I'd like to give you one more quote from the author. I wish to fill the gaps which have so far always remained unanswered in the souls of men, and which never leave any serious thinker in peace if he earnestly seeks for the truth. So, dear listeners, just to remind you, the topic for discussion tonight is humanity in creation. You're welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. Gregory, as you know, I like to look up the topic for the discussion, the words in the topic for the discussion in the dictionary. I know these are some easy words, but I thought I should still do it. So the first word is humanity. And humanity in... Hello? Okay. All right. So humanity, I looked up in the dictionary. It says humanity is the human race, which includes everyone on earth. It's also a word for the qualities that makes us human, such as the ability to love and have compassion, be creative, and not be a robot or alien. So, Gregory, on that definition, is that suitable for our discussion?
Well, thanks for this particular question. Humanity refers basically to mankind.
Right. Yes, we chose the word humanity because of neutral. I was going to say man or mankind, as you said, and then for the world of today, I chose humanity. So yes, mankind is the human. So is that, Gregory, just to be clear, we're talking about humanity on the earth or more than that?
We are aware of humanity on earth. We're not aware of humanity in any other physical planet.
Right. And but you know, in our previous shows, we mentioned that there's a spiritual world as well. So is that also included where humanity is there?
In that particular scenario, there must be a gradual build-up to show the work or the possibilities that have accrued to man due to his activities that makes it possible for humanity to be there.
Right. Okay. So we will go into that. And the other word there, the topic, is I'm just hearing a little bit of background sound. So I just want whoever's there I think it's in the studio, please, if you can stay silent during the show. Thank you. So the other one says the humanity in creation. So I looked that up as well in the dictionary and for the word creation. And it says the action or process of bringing something into existence, the creating of the universe, especially when regarded as an act of God. So is that, Gregory, when this definition that is given in the dictionary of creation, is that also suitable for our discussion?
It is acceptable, but further explanations need to be given.
Right. Would you like to say more now or later?
As with everything, it has to be built up. For the core of that definition is to bring something into existence, which means that which has been brought into existence was not there before.
Right. Okay. It's a big subject, I think. So we will go step by step, like you say there. Yeah. Thank you. So, Gregory, so we're talking about humanity in creation. Now, we wonder as human beings, what is our origin or where do we come from? And so on the earth, we think, oh, maybe there has been evolution. Or others think that maybe we're just somehow, I don't know how to say it, just created, like we just dropped onto the earth somehow and we came into being somehow like this. So I'm not quite sure that is exactly the right way to put it, but can I check with you, Gregory, this process, because we have said there's a process of creation. For now, creation, there's the creation itself, or the universe, let's call it universe to distinguish it, and then there's the human beings. So I'm trying to think now. Let's talk about the physical universe, Gregory, because to keep it simple and straightforward. So let's assume the universe is already there, and then the human beings have now arrived on the earth. So what was this process, Gregory, that brought the human beings onto the earth?
When looked at very carefully, you will find that the materials necessary for the human personality of flesh and blood to be on earth, those materials were already existent. Water was existent, which makes up so much percentage. Carbon. So you find all these things were already existing. However, through a process of gradual evolution, which basically is the combination of the different elements which already existed on Earth in such a way as to maintain a given goal. A goal in the sense that it should not be that the human personality or the human being in flesh and blood comes in an arbitrary form. The form in which the human personality has, that form has been there. However, the realization of that form only came through evolution.
Thanks for this answer, Gregory. I'm just thinking about that. So you're saying all the elements were already there to form the human being, and it was already there on the earth. So that happened through evolution. So Gregory, does that happen? Well, I know this could be a stupid question, because some people think, oh, things happen by accident, and others think, no, there was a design. So this evolutionary process where human beings were formed, or everything is in a way that has been formed, was it somehow a design, or accident?
Again, very simple observation will make it very clear that there is a design, which design is contingent on the framework through which this particular design will be realized. That framework will be the laws of creation, because it is creation, or the laws of nature, which many a personality is familiar with. Therefore, through motion, a design came into existence. It is the realization in the gross material physical world that has produced the human body of flesh and blood that you and I now use.
Thank you for this answer and explanation, Gregory. So there is a design of how we've come to exist, human beings, and on this earth, and which of course is logical. And now, Gregory, let's go to, because we want to go quite a lot, talk a lot of things in tonight's show. So I'm thinking, what is the purpose of the human being then, Gregory? There's other life already here on the earth before we came on the earth. And then we are sort of came after that, and let's say animals and plants. They were there, and obviously landscapes, and I won't call that life, but that's the environment, you can say, that we inhabit. So what was the purpose of the human being, Gregory, on this earth?
Again,
Go ahead.
one must ask a purpose. That means a goal. Whenever a goal is there, that goal must have been set. So it is not arbitrary. Of course, whoever comes to the earth first need to use the implement, which is the physical body of flesh and blood, need to make use of it or to learn to make use of it in accordance with the framework which made it possible to have that physical body. So the first goal will be to know how to make use of this implement, which is the physical body. The second goal one may consider is, before making use or before inhabiting this physical body, where was the entity or the spark? Which spark is the one that energizes this physical body? When one asks oneself that particular question, such a question already strikes the person that he or she is now forced to reflect. That being compelled to reflect means that that particular personality is then forced to use the implements which have been made available to it. That is the implements of the five senses, the implements of the intellect, all of which are gross material, and the implement which the spark uses. That implement is that of one's intuition. The process of making use of these three different categories is such that gradually, in a step-by-step manner, that spark is able to understand the environment here on earth. In understanding the environment here on earth using the five senses and the intellect, it gains experience. Subsequently, when it withdraws from the physical body, a process which is referred to as death, it, that spark, still exists and will continue to experience such that is conscious of its environment, and subsequently it becomes self-conscious. Self-conscious in the sense that those innate abilities which it possesses, or those innate abilities which have been sown into it, are cultivated. These are the talents which the human personality needs to cultivate. These are the talents that the spark which energizes the physical body needs to cultivate. That is the goal.
Thank you, Gregory. Apologies for my little pause there. Thank you for that explanation, Gregory. I'm just trying to sort of recap what you've said there into my mind. So, you know, we are human beings on this earth, and we have a body which has senses, the five senses, like you mentioned. And then there's this spark, which is there as well. I'm trying to visualize this spark. Is it something we can see, Gregory, or how do we, because it seems to be a new word, if I can say, that we haven't come across before, so I'm just trying to understand it. What is this spark? Can you tell us a bit more?
The word spark only gives the strong impression as that which energizes the physical body. On the other hand, many call that spark the human spirit spark. Which human spirit spark must have at the beginning, must have been not strong enough, and therefore needed to grow, needed to evolve from its state of unconsciousness to a state, finally, of consciousness of being and being self-conscious. Many may refer to that spark as the human spirit spark.
Thank you very much for that picture, Gregory. That's starting to make a clearer picture now. So yes, so there's a spark, human spark, you can say, that energizes, as you say, the body or that we are residing in, and then so that's what is, you could say, driving force in a way of the human being. Thank you for that. Now, Gregory, I'm thinking, what is the task of the human being on the earth? You know, because we know the animals, well, we do the same thing, eat and make their home here, and you could say provide, in quotes, food for the other animals or other fellow beings, and you know the plants also do that. But the human being, we are like you could say, I don't want to use the word master, but we seem to be the higher species on the earth. And so I'm wondering, and we have this intelligence, well, the animals also have intelligence, but somehow we seem to have a higher intelligence than the animal, and able to sort of, if I can say, have a greater effect on the earth with our presence and our actions. So my question on that is, Gregory, so I think let me clarify one thing, Gregory. You know, you mentioned earlier the five senses, the intellect, and the spark. So I'm wondering, Gregory, is the intellect the same as like intelligence that you were referring to?
The intellect is not the same thing as being intelligent, although they sound similar. Intelligence is something else. It has to do with the abilities of the human personality, the abilities it has cultivated to be able not only to adjust itself to the challenges of the earth, but also to the challenges which lie outside the realm of the earth in the process of experiencing and moving towards maturity. So intelligence is much more. That intelligence is cultivated, for it is the talents which have been sown into it that is cultivated that makes it intelligent. Although it is through the intellect that intelligence has to be applied.
Thank you for that answer, Gregory. So, and again, because we are saying these are you could say, the human abilities, the five senses and the intellect and this, oh, I've forgotten. Did you say, I've forgotten what you said was the third one now. You had the five senses and the intellect, and the third one? I forgot.
There is the five senses. There is the brain from which the intellect has arisen. And then there is the intuition.
Intuition, yes. Yes, sorry, I was just wanted to be clear about the word. So yes, the brain, where the intellect has come from, and then there's the intuition, which is being, I don't know if you refer to that already, but the spark that you refer to, the human spark, is using the intuition. So we have all these abilities. That's what we are saying, and they need to work together. Um, so, and we're talking at the moment of the human being on the earth. Um, so, Gregory. So yeah, what? And we also mentioned about evolution. That it's an evolutionary process that how human beings have come onto the earth, or evolved onto come together. So what's our what is the goal, Gregory, for the human beings on the earth? Are they meant to take care of the earth and the plant world, the animal world, and just take care of the world here? Is that one of the tasks?
The goal basically is to experience the environment of the earthly, and in that experiencing, it should be, due to its maturity, ennoble the environment it has found here on earth. But that ennoblement can only come about when the human personality has matured to an extent to know very clearly the framework of ennoblement, what it means to ennoble.
Thank you for that answer, Gregory. What I'm seeing here, Gregory, is that this is a process of discovery. What the human being's task is how to use his abilities, experiencing. Although we said the human being has come through a design, but still, for the human being to discover that design, or let's say, what can I say, fulfill its purpose. Maybe that's the better way to do it. What is designed for, it needs to discover it, and it's not like you just programmed to just do exactly straight away, start working. What is your task? It's a discovery process. So I'm trying to think on that. So, Gregory, is that, you could say, discovery process of our task? Is it, you say it's experiencing, so is it like a bit of, I was going to say, trial and error, and then if it works, say, oh, this is right, this is the right way to go forward, and if it doesn't work, you try something different? Or is there something you pick up somehow, by seeing nature or something like that?
As can easily be found out, there are the five senses. Which five senses are able to work in an outbound manner and also an inbound manner? Inbound, in the sense, external experiences are channeled through these five senses towards the intellect, which collates these experiences, these impressions, and passes these impressions to the spirit via one's intuitions. That is the inbound. The outbound is the case of the spirit, which, having received the streams of power, which streams of power permeates its surrounding, these streams of power are collated and sent via one's intuitions. These streams of power, together with impressions gathered, are sent via one's intuition towards the intellect, and then from there, subsequently, to the outer world here via the five senses. In that way, as long as there is harmony between one's intuition and one's intellect and one's deeds here on earth, then all that will be built up here on earth will be beautiful, will be ennoblement. The same thing happens when it goes into the reverse way. If, however, there is no harmony, then what happens is more of a rickety, a haphazard way in which there will be doubts, which doubts will cause many a disillusionment of some personalities. Therefore, you will find that it becomes very clear for the human personality who wishes to discover that way, which way is simple and clear when it is said, let your yea be yea and your nay be nay.
Thank you so much for this answer there, Gregory. I want to let the listeners know you're listening to Bless Radio. It's a Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message by Uprushin. If you are interested to know more about the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, then you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that. www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic we're discussing tonight is humanity in creation. You can join in the discussion with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And you're listening to us on Bless Radio 1, number1.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space live stream. That's for the live show. You can also listen to the recording of this show on YouTube. Go to youtube.com, and that's on the next day. So that's on youtube.com, as I said. Go to the search box and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space Grail message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is humanity in creation. And of course, you can listen to our previous shows also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are broadcasting on Zeno. That's ZENO.FM/Bless Radio 1. That's the number 1 again. Now, Gregory, we're getting to know, what the human being is, or abilities are, and how it's meant to be using those abilities. And you mentioned the main goal is to experience. Human beings have to experience, and we're talking about the life on the earth. They're meant to ennoble this world that we live in, using their abilities. Now, what I was thinking, Gregory, obviously there are many human beings living on the earth, and yes, they all have the abilities you've mentioned, the 5 senses, the intellect, and the intuition. But I'm wondering, Gregory, if you're supposed to make this world like a beautiful place, but people have different ideas, and they may not agree in their ideas. I mean, if you're making your own, you could say, own home, then you decide what you want to do. But when you're building a society or a place, more people are involved, and their ideas can be different. And one man's, they say, I forgot exactly the phrase, but one man's image of beauty could be different from another, and you may not agree. As I said, might think it's not beautiful. So I'm wondering, Gregory, can these human activities, if I can say, work together in align together, to make the beauty? Because everybody is, or is it meant to be a variety of the beauty, if I can say it like that?
If one observes the meadow, one will find there are many varieties of flowers. It's just not one flower. There are multitudes of varieties. Yet, each flower is beautiful in its own way. It radiates and brings joy or happiness to many a personality that observes it. The activities of man, for it to ennoble the environment, these activities are not arbitrary. These activities must resonate with the framework through which it, the human personality, came into existence. The framework through which nature came into existence. The framework through which the contents of nature, the contents of creation came into existence. This framework are the laws. This framework are not only the laws of nature, but also the laws of creation. For only through this framework, which framework is built upon motion which is a law, a prime law in creation, which law enables power to be radiated from the source to the destination to ensure that there is renewal, and also through this radiation, like you have in all flowers, you find that beauty also radiates. So you will find that as long as there are human personalities who in their activities ensure these activities resonate with this framework, then they themselves will be able to transmit that which they have sensed from on high down here to the earth to make it very beautiful.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for your picture there, an explanation. As we go in this show tonight, we're building the picture, like you said, Gregory. So slowly but surely, the picture is expanding, so that we can really see, what is this, you could say, how we human beings are meant to be, really, living on this earth and fulfilling our goals and purpose. What I can say, I already mentioned this is a discovery, but then, and you've also, of course, mentioned it's experiencing, and the aim is to, yes, discover these things and also obviously apply them, and, how can I say, develop ourselves to higher maturity, if I can say, and, because we're meant to work in harmony with other beings in this world, nature, and grow this way. So just thinking, are we meant to be, Gregory, we've talked about abilities. What about working with these, you could say, I know, look, for example, we do farming, which is obviously for food, and you could say controlling the environment as well, and so on. So we have lots of ability this way as human beings. And I'm thinking, Gregory, but let's say, what I want to ask about this is, are we also helping the rest of the world? Because we have been talking about, Gregory, our own development and growth. What about the rest of this world that we live in? You say we're making things to ennoble the world, this place, and more beautiful. But can we do it, because that's our own, you could say, ideas and activity, but can we work with the nature as well to sort of, create something with them as well?
Actually, in our activities, we are always walking in nature. For our activities belong, all the perceptible activities using the 5 senses belong to the world of gross matter. and gross matter is in matter, and matter as such for now is referred to as nature. So when nature is discussed, what one considers basically are the effects of motion within a certain category. And when that category is considered, one must ask oneself, how does one respond to this category which is referred to as nature? Again, it cannot be otherwise that it's only through the tools which are available to us, which are the five senses, which is also the thoughts which are available to us. So, through the five senses and through our thoughts, the human personality stamps an impression in nature. If that impression is of upbuilding, it resonates in nature. If that impression is not of upbuilding, it causes the catastrophes you find all over the place. The catastrophes you find, such as wars, the catastrophes of fights, the catastrophes of destruction, the catastrophes of pollution. So, man interacts with nature. But the question each must ask themselves, how has this been in the past? For if it has been of benefit, then the pollution which is talked about will not be there. If it has been of benefit, then the climate, which has been discussed again and again, will not be so grossly distorted. Or should one say that the distortion and the climate change which has come about is of benefit to man? So these are the questions people must ask themselves. Yet, it is only through the five senses and in one's thoughts that one is able to stamp in nature certain impressions which has caused so much havoc. So, yes, it is possible to walk in nature, to walk with nature, for before the human personality even arrived in this part of nature which is referred to as the earth, there had been others who are not of human beings like you and I in flesh and blood, who had walked in nature, on the earth, in fact, the preparation of the earth. First, the modeling of the physical universe before one considers the so-called solar system, and then the preparation of the earth. All this took millions of years. And when one considers that there must be beings that are responsible for the earth, the formation of the earth, the formation of the wind, even of fire, there must be beings that are responsible for the different activities on earth, for the denser activities, and also of the less dense activities. So these beings had been here way before the human personality stepped into the earth, for it is they first who prepared the earth, prepared the environment, and gradually prepared the evolution of the body from an initial stage until the human personality was able, through the animal, to take on the physical body of flesh and blood and continue in its evolution to ennoble it. So man has always interacted with nature, with the beings of nature. However, each person must ask themselves, has that interaction been beneficial to these beings of nature or not? That is the question that each discerning personality must ask themselves.
Thanks very much, Gregory, for your picture that you painted there. It's what I can see is that many, well, just like the earth that we live in, there are many creatures and beings around, you know, that are there, and obviously, and we have to work with them, and we may be causing, well, I would say nature causes the biggest effects of whatever it does, and then we too have a massive effect on the earth with our activity too. But really, you know, it's quite clear, as you've mentioned already, with what's happening with the weather or climate, how much, especially in recent history, how much impact that we've had in the short time, in the last few hundred years. Our activity is resulting in quite massive effect on the earth. Now I want to look at something a little bit different, Gregory. So we've been talking about, let's say, human beings' activity in regards to its environment on Earth, but then let's look at also the human beings' activity amongst themselves. You know, we've had people, let's say, dominating or oppressing others, you know, like some countries invading another one, or even empires in the history. And also we have civilizations, you know, they built pyramid and so many works of art which are, you know, celebrated, and music and other activities as well. So as you can see, there's good and bad that we have done over this our history. But it seems, Gregory, we just keep, let's say, there's not a, how can I say, total success, let me say that way, in our progress of humanity. In general, there seems to be some success, but then there's always some, let's say, disasters or damage or injury to our fellow human beings. So I'm wondering, Gregory, what is the cause of that? Is it because people want to own, have power or domination? Is there something like that in the human nature, if I can say like that, to, you could say a fight for the fittest, a battle of the fittest, to become strong? And unfortunately, somebody gets damaged or hurt, if I can say that way, or let's say the strong succeed and the weak um, collapse or fail. So is that meant to be the natural way as well?
The natural way always ensures that there is one for all and all for one. The unnatural ways is the opposite, which says everybody for himself or herself. So people can do what they like, how they like it, can even wish to destroy the environment while others are striving to preserve the environment. Some can decide, because they have the means, to set the whole world on fire. So one can already see that which is natural, which is beneficial, which indeed have the same goal, that goal of spiritual maturity, spiritual ennoblement, that holds when you have one for all and all for one. Because the goal is unique. The goal is to enable all those like you who also wish to be matured in order to be permitted to cooperate with the other beings, which beings for now are not perceptible to one's five senses, but the beings had always walked with one another, one for all and all for one, and that is how they were able to put the earth together, to put the contents of the earth together, waters on the earth, nature such as the vegetation, gradually the animals. One can see how in a step-by-step towards a particular goal, which is what you refer to as evolution, how things have been built up to make it possible, such that when the human spirit spark arrives, is able to take off from where they themselves have stopped. That is the goal. But for them to take over where others have stopped, they first needed to understand the mechanism, the conditions in the environment, how others who put this environment together, how they did it. Only in such a way can they who wish to ennoble and improve that which exists, only in that way can they then proceed. But what have we found? That which had been carefully prepared in nature is being spent recklessly by the supposedly superior human personalities who seize upon that which already exists use it in such a reckless manner as to convolute the whole environment, fight with their neighbor, destroy, steal from their neighbors. But the thing is, what is sad about some of these is that when these matters are discussed, many a person will say, oh, it is not from my ancestors, because my ancestors were victims, forgetting that in accordance with the laws of creation, which laws of creation are based on motion, or on the laws of motion, such a personality would have been in one community in a different part of the earth, in one incarnation, and in another incarnation in another part of the community. So, the ancestors which are referred to are basically those who have been there before them. And those who have been there before them would have been themselves who, without forethoughts, had decimated the environment and caused so much confusion. So many who subsequently point fingers, they themselves might well have contributed to such a devastation. However, as soon as the human personality strives after that which is noble, in the sense like you have a similar goal, that goal of one for all and all for one, as you have even in your so-called football, then you will find one lives for the other. And one must not forget that there is one for all and all for one doesn't mean only one piece of music is being played. There are varieties, just as you have in the middle different flowers, just as you have in the forest different woods, just as you have in music, just as you have different personalities. All these varieties, only when they unite, having the high goal of spiritual maturity in the cultivation of those virtues which had been implanted, then and only then will that one for all and all for one be realized.
Thank you again, Gregory, for this answer there. When we think about evolution, it's supposed to be a progress and something better going to come than what was existing before. But with the human being, you're pointing to that it seems to have some new being has come, but it's causing, disharmony, causing a lot of destruction, let's say. So that doesn't sound like a good evolution. And I'm wondering what went wrong.
When the question is asked what went wrong,
Yes.
very simply, in the discussion, there was the talk of the five senses through which the human spirit experiences. There is also, in gross material, the intellect. And finally, there is also the human personality, spirit spark, in its communication, the human spirit spark uses the intuition to communicate with the intellect. The intellect, which is gross material, which is earthly, also communicates with the five senses. As is very well known, your thoughts may not be in harmony with your deeds, because you might be thinking of how to steal, and yet your deeds will be preparing the way, being very nice to those where you wish to steal. So your thoughts does not necessarily mean that they are in harmony with your deeds. The same thing, one's intuition may not be in harmony with one's thoughts. As long as there is disharmony between one's intuition and one's thoughts, between one's thoughts and one's deeds, then the disharmony is as such help to propagate one-sidedness. One-sidedness, in the case of the intellect, it is then one-sidedly developed because of its continuous usage to the detriment of that which is spiritual, which is one's intuition. In that particular scenario, the intellect being used again and again develops faster than that which is of spirit. It is that disproportionate development of the intellect that has precipitated the catastrophes you find. For were that not the case, through the human intuition, many a person would have sensed the connection with others and would have, without being instructed, would have known that the way forward is cooperation, not the destruction of others. Would have realized that the talents it has, others may have different talents, but when brought together, will build up. That was not the case. Hence the catastrophes and the destructions that abound today.
Thank you so much for this answer, Gregory. But I'm thinking that means it's a bad design. The human being is because we're supposed to be progressing with evolution, but somehow with the human being, the evolution has produced. I mean, potentially there is how can I say advancement, but then there's some flaw which allows it to lead to destruction. So is that a flaw in the design?
The design ensures that for the human personality, the ability to choose is granted to it. That is the ability to decide. How it then decides in accordance with the framework, that which it has set in motion, there is a reciprocal activity. It is the reciprocal activities that many now experience. Or is it possible to say there is no free will? If it is said there is no free will to decide, then one might as well say that some person who asserts that there is no free will, he himself is not free to make that decision, but was being compelled. Many worldly realize that that is not the case. The human personality always is granted the free will to decide of how he or she wishes to move. Within the framework, that free will is granted. How they use this free will, that becomes their own blessing or punishment which we now accrue to them. So there is no problem with the framework, which framework one might refer to as a design. However, the challenge has been how man makes use of that which has been given to him for upbuilding or for destruction.
Thank you very much again, Gregory, for this answer and the picture you've shown us. Yes, it's justice. You can see, if you have a free will, you can choose to upbuild or you can choose to destroy, and then you suffer the consequence accordingly to that. So what I'm wondering then, Gregory, okay, let's say the majority of human beings choose to go on the path of destruction, and then rightfully they suffer that. But what about some of, let's say, the minority who want to live in a upbuilding way, and now because of the majority they're suffering the consequences of the destruction, because they happen to be, the choice of the majority was to go towards destruction, and so the minority of the who are seeking upbuilding have now to suffer that. So that doesn't sound justice there.
Well, when one observes very carefully, the decision of the majority to inflict punishment on the minority, those decisions subsequently are very temporal. For there are the returns, which returns will ensure that that which a personality has contributed as a shareholder in the majority, that is returned to him or herself. The same thing happens in the case of the minority. However, one should not forget the human personality in the outworking of their decisions can also make changes on the realization that that path they have chosen is not of upbuilding. At the same time, many who have had to suffer under such decisions may also awaken spiritually to understand their environment, to understand what their fellow human personalities are capable of. In such a scenario, they themselves can also mature in learning to be on the alert, in learning or in experiencing or practicing vigilance and alertness, which vigilance and alertness are virtues. They also will learn about or experience humility. They also will have to develop their skills, for they are not to remain immobile, but they themselves, in the face of such challenges, will cultivate many a thing which will even surprise them. So, whatever the scenario, the human personality can, through its motion, cultivate a skill, a virtue. Some virtue could be that of diligence, could be that of humility, could be that of compassion for the so-called minorities. Now looking into the souls of these majority and sensing their lack of compassion, many in the minority will then cultivate that deep compassion for their neighbors, hoping and praying that these ones they grow to the extent where they will awaken that deep within themselves what compassion is, what vigilance is, what alertness is, what modesty is, what diligence is, and what heroism is. These are all, or some, that the human personality can cultivate, whatever the scenario.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for this answer. Basically, I can understand from what you're saying, or what I can see from what you're saying, even if people are suffering because of the majority action or decision, there's always an opportunity to sort of turn the situation round, and eyes will be open for, like, that something new, which is positive, or let's say a building, can develop even out of something that is outwardly destructive. So yes, so thanks, and everything that in a way is an impetus to push us forward, even, and it could be like a temporary setback. So thank you for that picture. I want to let listeners know that this is you're listening to Bless Radio, and this is a Tuesday evening spiritual discussion program from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. The aim of the show is to introduce you to the spiritual knowledge in the light of truth, the Grail message, by Abdushin. If you want to know more about the Grail message, or want to get a copy of the Grail message for yourself, then you can visit this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that: www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And the topic we're discussing tonight is humanity in creation. You're welcome to join us with any questions or comments by contacting us on our UK number, which is 079 39 641 958. You can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And if you're outside of UK, it is 0044 79 39 641 958. Again, you can call, text, or use WhatsApp. And you can listen to us on Bless Radio 1, number 1, that's number1.com. You can also listen to us on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again, space, live stream. That's for the live show. You can listen to the recording of this show the next day, also on YouTube. Go to youtube.com and type in the search box, Bless Radio 1, that's the number 1 again, space, Grail message, space, the topic of the show, which tonight is Humanity in Creation. And of course, you can listen to our previous shows also on YouTube. Thirdly, we are also broadcasting on Zeno, that is ZENO.FM / Bless Radio 1, the number 1 again. Now, Gregory, we've been talking about human beings. Yes, they can do upbuilding, they can do destruction, and you can see the effects of that. Now, of course, we know human beings have free will, which means they can choose to go one way, say the upbuilding way, or they can go in the destructive way. So ultimately, Gregory, when I say ultimately, is there, I know the Earth has you could say a fixed lifespan, the sun also, or even the whole universe. One day it will be destroyed through natural way, not so human beings blowing anything up. So I'm wondering, Gregory, is there, how can I say, the human being's future really? Is it going to be just allowed to go, let's say, if it is leading to destruction, would there be any intervention through nature, or will it just whatever the way human beings go, it's like that will lead the future, or that's where it will end up. So I know we probably cannot destroy the whole Earth by ourselves, only make it uninhabitable, but is there any sort of how can I put it? I was going to say the word emergency, but is there any way to reset the world, or just the human beings will just continue? If they choose to destroy, will it just be allowed to be destroyed? The world, the Earth.
I hope I do understand your question. First,
yes,
the Earth itself, which is a part of the solar system, was not put there by human beings in flesh and blood. Before human personalities in flesh and blood incarnated on Earth, the Earth has always been there. They can eliminate themselves, but to consider that the Earth as an entity which has been prepared over millennia, over millions and millions of years, will suddenly be brought or be blown up by the human personalities who chose to use it to mature before they sever themselves from their earthly bodies. Such a notion sometimes seem far-fetched, but many should understand that the human personality on earth are guests, and being guests, they themselves must comport themselves in such a way that it is agreeable. Because the framework that made it possible for them to use these planets, that framework is such that there will come a time when the human personalities of flesh and blood will not be able to incarnate here on earth anymore, in the sense that the earth, just like every other planet, will go through a process, or just as it has come through a process of evolution, gets to a peak, and we go through a process of dissolution. Not the way human personalities think of it, where they can just blow up things and also blow up some planets, or even think of blowing up the sun. Such opportunities cannot exist for the human personalities because they themselves lack the abilities, the knowledge of creation, of nature, which knowledge is of upbuilding, first which they need to use for their own betterment. That knowledge they lack. For when wisdom is mentioned, when understanding is mentioned, there is the need to have this firm knowledge of creation, firm knowledge of nature, to be able to apply it accordingly, which will lead to upbuilding. Therefore, many should not be expecting that they themselves, who did not put the plan in place, which permitted them to incarnate here on earth in order to mature, can just do away with the earth as it pleases them. They themselves will first have to vanish, for there are other entities that are also involved who are maturing through experiences on the earth that are not of flesh and blood. So many cannot even envisage it and just think that, oh, they may have a few nuclear bombs to do this and to do that. All those things belong to their imagination. For as long as the earth is concerned, which has become a turning point for the human personalities who are experiencing, such possibilities as they wish to have to be able to destroy the earth, such possibilities will be denied them. But the earth, having gone through a process of evolution, will also go through a process of dissolution in accordance with motion, which is a law in creation.
Thank you very much, Gregory, again for giving us this picture of, how this, you could say, world works. Yes, human beings have free will, but it has to work within, you could say, the parameters of nature's laws. And it doesn't mean just because you can have a nuclear bomb, you can destroy everything and, let's say, the earth in some way. And, because there, if I can use the word, there are checks and balances to ensure the protection, you can say, of other beings who are also there, which we who are going to suffer innocently, you can say. So that cannot be allowed. So I get that. And in fact, you're saying even the human beings themselves can be eliminated through this process if they try to reach this so far. So now, Gregory, yeah, if that is the case, then human beings have gone so far astray, let's say. Does it mean, I know the earth will be protected, you've said that, so what I'm trying to look at now, Gregory, those who are, let's say, striving for the, like we said last week, perfection, and others who are going for the opposite direction of destruction or harm. So how would the ones who are striving for the upbuilding, Gregory, how would they be saved when they're mixed up with these others? Would they be sent to another world, or I'm trying to understand that.
Again, through the laws of creation, the laws of nature, which are also very well anchored or have been woven into creation, into nature, there is that of reciprocal activity. There is that of the attraction of homogeneity. So those who in their intrinsic volition strive after purity, those personalities will find a way, first through their thoughts, through their intuition, there will be the unity of those who have to come together. And in accordance to reciprocal activity, there will be an accumulation of those who have similar or equivalent homogeneity. That is a gathering or a coming together, first in their intuition, subsequently in their thoughts, and finally through the activities of their deeds, they will gather. That they gather doesn't mean they have to be in one point, as many may consider. Through their intuition, through their thoughts, they can gather for the threads which bind them together. Though not seen gross materially, these threads are tangible. It is these threads that will ensure that in time, those who are of similar homogeneity will come together first in their intuitions, in their thoughts, and sooner or later may converge in one spot or in several communities here on earth or hereafter. These are all manifold possibilities, and therefore many who now suffer under the hands of many an evil volition need not fear for long, because before too long, they, with their strong volitions, will be attracted to where they should belong.
Thank you for this answer, Gregory. I noticed you said there are people will be who are striving, let's say, for you could say purity or for goodness or for upbuilding. There could be many places they can gather, either on earth or in the hereafter. And now, so far, we've been focusing on the earth, so as one place of gathering of human beings. So, what other place you said hereafter? Where is these other places they could gather?
Outside of the earth,
Yes.
basically, in the realm which is not of gross matter, in the ethereal realms, there are groups of different gatherings depending on that which is homogeneous to them in the way they care to arrange things in their intuition. In fact, it is outside of gross matter that which is referred to as the attraction of homogeneity holds very strongly. So, in the further maturing, there are some who haven't experienced to some extent here on earth and haven't dropped their physical body are now in the beyond, in areas which are homogeneous to their striving. There, they will meet those of similar intuitions, and there, definitely, it will be one for all and all for one. And therefore, their maturity will be much faster. And in such a way, they will be exchange of impressions. And with such exchange, they are able to mature in their workings together and to make progress so as to become, as quickly as possible, self-conscious in the cultivation of those virtues of steadfastness, of faithfulness or truthfulness, of grace and modesty, of diligence or heroism, of courage and selflessness, of skills, of wisdom, of humility, of vigilance and alertness. We should not forget, for those who have come to these realizations, even whilst here on earth, on departing, many have the strong wish to be able to support some others who lack this compassion. In that particular scenario, nature or the laws of creation have made it possible that even from a distance, some can influence those who are still on earth, gradually influencing them, supporting them, having an impact on their thoughts through their intuition. These are what many call one's conscience, helping to mold these personalities such that their vision becomes brighter and brighter. Having fulfilled that, some others take their turn, for the first one will have to move further for their maturity. So there is so much to be done.
Thank you very much, Gregory, for this answer. It really shows how you could say mighty is the process in this creation of how human beings, are dealt with, you can say, or rewarded, or let's say pay the price for their thoughts, actions, for their activity. So thank you so much for that. I wanted to let the listeners know the inspiration for tonight's topic, humanity in creation, came from the Grail message, and there's a lecture in the Grail message called Man in Creation, which basically was the basis of tonight's discussion. So if anybody again was to remind you, if you are interested to have more information on the Grail message or want to get a copy of the Grail message, you can go to this website, which is www.grailmessage.com. I'll spell that: www.grail, Grail, message, MESSAGE.com. And as usual, I like to finish with the foreword from the Grail message, which is titled "For Your Guidance." The bandage falls, and belief becomes conviction. Liberation and redemption lie only in conviction. I'm addressing earnest seekers only. They must be able and willing to examine this matter objectively. Religious fanatics and irresponsible enthusiasts may hold aloof, for they are detrimental to the truth. As for the malevolent and prejudiced, they shall find their sentence in the very words. The message will strike only those who still carry within them a spark of truth and the yearning to be true human beings. To all such it will become the shining light and staff. It will lead them unswervingly out of all the chaos of the present-day confusion. The following word does not bring a new religion, but is intended as the torch to help all serious listeners or readers find the right path, which leads them to the longed-for height. Only he who bestirs himself can advance spiritually. The fool who uses extraneous aids for this, in the form of ready-made opinions of others, only walks his path as if on crutches, while ignoring his own healthy limbs. But the moment he boldly uses all the abilities which lie dormant within him, awaiting his call to help in his ascent, he is employing the talent entrusted to him in accordance with his Creator's will. and will easily overcome all obstacles that seek to divert him. Therefore, awake. Genuine faith lies only in conviction, and conviction comes solely through an inflexible weighing and examining. See that you are truly alive in the wonderful creation of your God, Uptrushin. So, listeners, thank you for joining us tonight for the topic of humanity in creation. I hope you've enjoyed the discussion. We dealt with quite a sort of number of, you could say, aspects of this topic. And thank you for being with us. I just want to ask Gregory if there's anything he'd like to say to the listeners before we say goodbye.
Wishing all listeners a very beautiful week.
Thank you. The listeners will be back as usual next Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. UK time. Hopefully we can start on time. And I wish you all a great week. Good night. God bless. Bye now.